Hello, and welcome to Travel Stories Unpacked, the travel podcast where we talk about all things, from the silly to the serious and everywhere in between. I am your host, Ashley Newton, and thank you so much for spending your time with us. We really appreciate it. And on this week's episode, we are unpacking airplane etiquette, or just things that we like, things we don't like, all the things that take place when you are traveling via air. And our guest for this week is a repeater, so I'm really happy to have you back on. Welcome, Ashley Jason.
Thanks for having me back. I'm excited to be back.
Yeah, and if you haven't listened to it or watched it on YouTube already, go find our episode about airports. So we've already talked about all the things that kind of give us the ick when it comes to people's behaviors in airports. And now we're taking it to the next step when you're actually on the plane. So of course, I have to ask with everybody's favorite airplane question, Ashley, when you're flying, what seat do you prefer? Middle, aisle, or window?
Oh, well, not middle, because that's just wrong.
That's psychopath answer.
You shouldn't. I always was middle. No, I was always window. I always had, because I get seasick. I get motion sickness, so I always had to look out the window. And then one time when we were late on a plane, see the last podcast, the story's there, I got stuck in an aisle and I panicked and I was like, I can't be in an aisle. And I actually kind of fell in love with it. I was like, I need to be on the aisle now. Now I'm aisle all the way.
Okay, I have a very similar journey. Of course, growing up, window all the way. It's like the most exciting part about flying, especially when you're like young and starting out. So I just gravitated towards that. And now I really only like the window if it's like 2 hours or less. Anything longer, I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom. And I hate being that person that's like, excuse me. And then you do the awkward little butt scoot all the way out.
You put your butt in their face.
Yeah, no, what's the other option? Like either way, it's awful. So like now I'm definitely more of an aisle person. But I think that leads to the question too. Do you use bathrooms like the lavatory on the plane?
Oh yeah. I mean you got it. I don't want to. Yeah. Because I'm claustrophobic. It's horrible. It's not germs for me. You know, I'll wash my hands and I'll be fine. But it's I don't like to have my knees in the door when I'm going to the bathroom.
Yeah. No, it's awkward for somebody of my size. And I feel like I'm what now people are calling mid-size. I don't know what that means. Okay. But let's just say I'm not a skinny mini. So you're right? Normal. Okay. So like when I'm in the plane, I feel a little claustrophobic. Imagine if you're somebody who's like a bigger size.
Try
like how does that even what?
Try changing a diaper.
How do you do that? Do they have like
you know how, do.
Yeah. So where does it come from? I don't have kids, so this is not on my radar.
I just discovered it because I just flew 2 times since our last podcast, and I flew with my 8-month-old and 10-month-old at the time. So he was 8 months and then 10 months, and I had to change his diaper, and I dreaded it. And no, there is a changing table that comes down over the toilet, and it's small. Yeah. And I have a big baby. It is not easy.
So what is it like now flying with a baby? Like, how is that different for you than when you used to fly just... I don't want to say unencumbered, but solo.
Such a world of different. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, he's really good. Is he still
lucky.
Good?
Yes. Okay. I am so fortunate because he is a wonderful traveler. I don't know what it's like to travel with a crazy baby. Yeah. I've flown with him 2 times now, both to Florida. And
how old was he the first time you took him on a plane?
8 months.
Okay.
And so he was 8 months, and then the second time he was 10 months. It was 2 months later. And it was the same thing. He literally was amazing flying. He fell asleep right after we took off, and he woke up right before we landed the first time. It was beautiful.
Did you like do anything to try to like prepare him or soothe him? Like, do you have any things that you did, or is he just that kind of baby that he was just chill?
He just needed to be snuggled. That's all. They say you have to like a binky. The sucking helps with their ears, but he doesn't take a binky.
Yeah.
Or you could like give him a bottle or something, but
oh my gosh, the ear thing.
Yeah, that's what I was terrified about.
I struggle with that, and especially now, like, you know, if I have allergies going on or anything that's already like clogging me up, like it is painful, like it's rough. But when I was younger, it was much harder to like handle that pain, and I did lose it on a plane once. Like I was flying somewhere with my grandma, and I don't remember where, but it was just the 2 of us. And of course I'm in like sweats and a hoodie or whatever. And the pain was so bad. And like my body does this thing where it like overheats when it's given any obstacle. It just like heats up and shuts down. So that's what it was doing. And I'm like just taking off as many layers of clothes as I can. I have my head like between my knees, just trying not to like cry. And like that was embarrassing, but I was also like young. So I felt like it was like okay. And this is sort of what we were talking about before the podcast started, is we sort of view like airplane etiquette differently based on your age. So like I would give myself a pass for that. I was like maybe 12, 13, like no older than 14 years old. But like now if I was behaving that way, I'd be like, get this woman a Xanax, like fix her, right? Like, yeah. Like what is her problem? So yeah, I mean, I do think there are certain things that are more acceptable when you're a kid. And one of them is my biggest pet peeve at the airport as well. And that's the shoes and socks thing.
Yeah.
Like what is, especially when you're doing like a quick flight, like what is the necessity to just like like bare your bare feet all over the plane? I do not understand it. And the last flight I was on, or I don't know, a recent flight, there was a grown man who clearly was having fun at the like airport bar before he got on, which you know, you do you. He wasn't like being too rowdy or anything. You could just tell he was a bit jovial to be getting on this airplane. And then he just takes his feet out of his Crocs and puts them right in the aisle. Just right in the aisle. And then he's just wiggling his toes. And I'm like so grossed out by it. But if it wasn't like a 40, 50-year-old man and was like a 5 or like 10-year-old kid, I'd be like, oh, yeah, whatever.
No, you wouldn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
Like, I have a 10-month-old or 11-month-old, and his feet are adorable. He's going to get to a point where they're disgusting. Like, I don't, like, right now, they're little chubby baby feet.
Well, and little kid feet, like, they just don't stink.
No, his do.
Do they?
They do.
Why?
His stunk from, like, 2 months old. It's weird. I don't know.
Aw.
Yeah, it was one thing for, like, walking around the airport barefoot, but, like, to be barefoot on the plane, and I am a barefoot girl. Like if I don't have to wear shoes, I won't wear shoes. I don't wear them walking to my mailbox. Like I do not like shoes at all. But I am not going to take my shoes off on the plane. Nobody wants to. I don't care how nice your feet are. I don't care if you're a foot model. You don't need or you know, that you've seen they put them on the armrest in front of them. Have you seen that?
I have not seen that in person.
I've seen it.
No way.
I've seen it. Not in my vicinity, but I've seen it like on the plane around me. Thank God it wasn't like my armrests or anything. But yeah, if they're in like maybe like the window and they'll stick their feet up on the back thinking like that person in front of them can't see, they can see it. Your foot's in their space.
This is why I sanitize my space. This is why I break out those Clorox wipes and I wipe down every single thing I'm gonna touch, because like you just can't trust people to be decent human beings anymore, or probably never in the history of ever could you rely on that.
That is the first thing I do on the plane is I take out my Lysol wipes and I you wipe the tray table, you wipe the TV trays and the headrest, and that's
I even do the buckle. Like I get like the seat
you know
belt.
what I should, and I don't even think about that. I mean, everyone touches that,
right? Pretty much anything that I go to touch with my hands, I just put them on like mitts almost, and I'm just like, let's just desanitize.
What am I gonna touch? Here we go.
Yeah, and even after that, I really don't use the seat pocket.
No.
I will like temporarily, let's say, like just like stow my trash in there for a second.
I put my trash in there.
Yes, but I always give it to the flight attendants.
When they
I
come
am
through,
not leaving it in there and expecting them to do it after.
No, but that's why you don't put personal items in there, because there's two of us right now and we do both do it. You stick your trash in there.
Right.
And then when they come through, you put it. So I'm not going to put like my phone in there.
100%. I'm also not going to put anything in there that I wouldn't want to leave behind. Not that I'm trying to forget the trash, but like, could you imagine like your wallet's in there, or your phone's in there, like, and then you start your trip.
Yeah. There's one of my husband's wallet, one of Alex's wallets is on a plane from Tampa.
No,
oh
really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. See, I'm not surprised that you didn't like put your stuff in there. I am a little surprised that he did though.
He didn't put it in there. It was underneath and it fell out. So it just no.
Yeah. See, I'm the sort of person where like I always have like whatever under the seat in front of me and everything goes right back in there.
Yes.
Like as soon as I am done using it, it goes right back in there, and that's just like that's just how you airplane. I don't know why other people don't do that.
No.
But how do you feel about like neck pillows and stuff?
I've never actually used one.
Ever.
I mean, I've tried one on. Like, I've tried one on, and I think they're wonderful. I just don't want to carry it.
Okay.
I mean, that's truly my thing. I always have like zip up hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever have like a pullover hoodie because I want to take it off easily and not pull it over my head.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Pro tip.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was on the window, I would always just crumple that up and put it against the window. But no, I've tried them on, but I don't want to carry it.
So are you the sort of person that can fall asleep?
No, I don't sleep on planes.
Okay, so then it's not really a priority for you.
No.
You can just like hold your neck up just fine. But like I can't fall asleep on the way to travel. I'm too excited.
Yeah.
Even if it's a work thing, if it's a vacation, whatever.
Right.
Like I'm just too amped up. So I'm going to stay awake the whole time, even if it's like a 6 a.m. flight, you know? But on the way back,
you're exhausted.
I'm exhausted. Yeah. So I can usually, if not fully fall asleep, I'm not keeping my eyes open.
Right.
The pillow that I love is inflatable. So it takes up like, and it's more comfortable than you'd think. It sounds like an air mattress on your neck. Yeah, but it takes like 1 second. You know what I mean? You're not like,
I know that. I'm just picturing you on the plane like just looking over at you blowing this little thing up. Like
it probably is kind of like loud and
smart,
obnoxious because it isn't like silent, but it is just like 2 deep breaths and it's done. But I like it because it collapses into like nothing.
That's smart.
So it doesn't take up a bunch of space if you don't end up using it.
I've also seen people like strap it to their bags though. Like
a
lot of them have like button closures or something. So like so you walk around and you see it like hanging from someone's bag, which also cracks me up because it just looks weird. But I don't want to travel, especially now that I'm traveling with a kid. I already have to travel with so much in my arms, and I am like super crazy about stuff of like, I don't want to I take things that are unnecessary is my problem. Like I take enough unnecessary things. I don't want to take even more. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I think they're great. I just don't want to carry it. If I slept on planes too, you know what people don't know though, is most planes, the headrest, those sides flip out. Yes. So you can rest your head. I mean, it's not a pillow, obviously, but I started doing that. I did not, and I learned that like last year, that those headrests flip out so you can rest your head on them.
I think I learned it embarrassingly like late in life as well.
Like literally
So I'm wondering if it's like a newer thing.
Maybe.
Like, I don't know. Yeah. But again, if you're going to do that, maybe wipe them down.
Oh, I always do.
Just throwing it out there.
I always do. I have like a fear of lice. So like I never.
Yeah, I guess I'm just afraid people are putting their bare feet all over everything in the plane. It's just like putting it on the footrest, whatever.
Things. Like especially because like my last flight was Orlando. It is. I'm flying to Orlando, like the land of Disney. Do you know how many kids are on those planes? Like kids are gross, and I know even more now because I have one, and he is gross. And there's such a small amount of time between the flights. Of like they're not cleaning anything.
No, from Ohio to Florida, it's like you're basically there.
And by the time the last people deboarded your flight to you boarding it, it's like what 5-10 minutes maybe. They're not cleaning that.
They don't have time. Yeah, and honestly, nobody wants to wait. Like we're not that like culture where we're like, we will patiently wait for you to increase the pleasure of our flight experience. Hell, we're like, get me on. Like I've got places to go. Like I can't believe you made me wait as long as you did. Yeah, not that I'm like that. Yeah. Or even if I'm feeling that way on the inside, I'm never gonna say anything out loud. No. Which is probably maybe even more than the shoe thing. Or when people are rude to the flight attendants. Yes. Yeah. Like, I cannot stand that. And I'll take it so far as to say that you are rude to the flight attendant if you are not listening to their safety speeches. Yeah. If you are not making eye contact, if you are not taking your headphones off, if you're not looking up from your phone. Right. Just listen. Just listen to them. Like, it's just so rude to me. Yeah.
I don't, like, pay attention super, but I mean, I've been on planes so much, but I don't sit on my phone. I take my headphones out. You know what I mean? I still... Yeah. Some of them are really funny too. Like we've had some really good ones.
How do you feel about the ones that are like trying to be comedians? You're into it?
As long as they get the point across and like people are actually still listening, I think it's hilarious because again, I've flown so much. Like I know the safety, I know the drill. Right. But they have to do it, obviously. But now, the last few flights I've been on, it's a video.
Really? What are you flying?
United.
Okay. See, and do you fly United because you like them the most, or why do you usually end up on that airline?
Because they're nonstop usually. Okay. I can get the nonstop, and they're cheaper, and I don't know. That's just too.
I was gonna say because lately, like anytime through work, it's always the same airline. Mm-hmm. But then when I fly independently, I usually still end up on Southwest, and now I am like endeared to Southwest. Like I am like. I love Southwest.
Southwest.
Yeah, like I
Two
don't know
free
what
bags.
it
You
is.
can't go wrong.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
That's nice. If you fly
But,
Southwest,
yeah.
you get 2 free checked bags, which is
Yeah.
like, where are you going? That
Right.
you need that much stuff, but
Alex and I
okay.
share one bag for like 9 days. We share one bag, so I don't
I couldn't do
I
that.
don't need 2 bags, but we share one bag.
Even if I'm not like taking advantage of the check, because I usually don't if I
Right.
can avoid it,
Right.
because that's just one extra layer of stress, and I just
Yeah.
don't need that. I'm a bit of like a control person,
Yeah.
so like everything that I can keep within my
Yeah.
control, I'm going to.
Yeah.
But I just like the general vibe of Southwest, and the open seating does not bother me, but that like really freaks a lot of people out.
Yeah, I think if it was like for work or something, it wouldn't bother me. But now, like Alex and I were on in different rows, I think it was, coming home from Orlando. And with a kid that was really stressful because like we kind of pass him back and forth sometimes. But like, and we bought our seats. So like it wasn't even open seating. I forgot Southwest has open seating.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, the first time
That's
I flew with them,
stressful.
I was a bit like, hold on.
I don't think I could
How
do
is this
that.
gonna work? What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
And I've never had an issue with it. I've also never had people come up and ask me to switch seats.
Yeah.
Now I know how I think I'd handle it, and I know like my general stance on it, which is don't do that.
Right.
Do not ask people to switch seats. That is so weird. Like the only way I could see that happening is if like you go to sit in your seat and there is like human feces. You go to sit in your seat and it is missing. You go to sit in your seat and it's on fire. Like these are instances where you'd like maybe even go to, you know, the lovely flight attendants, the lovely people there to help you and be like, hey, I have a bit of a problem. But you don't make it another passenger's issue when you're just like, I don't know, you didn't plan accordingly. Like their seat looks better today. Like I just do not understand that. Has anybody ever come up to you and asked that?
No, I don't think so. I will say, I don't think anyone's asked me, but I will say on the last flight, it was to Orlando in April. And my husband and I had window in middle and somebody was in our aisle seat. And we were like, the plane was full. We're like, it's okay. Like we'll be fine as long as we're next to each other. Well, when we sat down, the row behind us, we get on last too, because I don't want to sit on the plane for 20 minutes. I want to get on last. If I have a seat, I'm getting on last. And the row behind us was completely empty. And you know, I don't know if you sit there and you wait, you're like, how many more people? How many more people? How many more people? Is this full? Is that going to stay empty? And it's like, it was behind us completely empty and the doors closed. And they're like, okay, everyone can move around if you need to. And I was like, oh. And Alex and I looked at each other and we're like, we want this girl to move. Like, but it was, I think there was one person behind us in the window. So the middle and the aisle were open. And I told Alex, she overheard me because I didn't want to be like, hey, can you move?
Yeah, get out.
So that we can have the whole row. Like, I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah.
So I told Alex, I said, I think I'm going to move to the aisle behind us so that we have more room. And she overheard me. And I might have done it like obviously so that she overheard me and maybe it was going to offer. And she did. It worked. So she was like, oh, do you want me to? I'll just move back. It's just one aisle. And then you guys can have the whole row. And we're like, oh my God, great idea. So sweet. So I've had somebody offer to move. Would it have been weird for me to be like, hey, do you mind like moving back? Probably not, because it's beneficial for her too, but I'm not going to do that. Like, why? Yeah. Why would I do that? I don't know.
It's just so like awkward to me, and it's like putting you in this weird position of like entitlement and like authority if you were to be like, actually, could you get out of our row now because you can? And it's like they should have just done it. Like, I don't know, that's common sense to me. Like, oh, you have more room, like go over there. Yeah. But I think that is the key. You just wait for the announcement to be made, and then you just sort of like, like, you know, oh, that looks cool. Like, maybe I'll do that. Like, doesn't that look fun? You should do that.
Yeah,
like,
wow. Wouldn't you like that?
Like, get it in their heads. But, like, something I've seen a lot that never bothered me, and now I'm wondering, like, was I being, like, accidentally rude to other people, is the reclining of the seat. Oh, this has become such a debate lately. So is that bad? Are you not supposed to do that?
I don't know. Like, I am so conscious of it now because I, at one point, was on a flight with a kid in front of me who was so aggressive because sometimes those reclines, like, are so aggressive.
Really?
Like, they hit it and they're like, wha-bam! And it's like, slams back. And I am the kind of person too that like once we're at altitude, my tray table comes down because I like to have like a table in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
So like I have like my phone, I have, you know what I mean?
My
like
tray table's down the whole time too.
Exactly. My tray table is down. So if there's a drink and someone like nails their seat back, it jolts back. And I'm like, when it's fat back, I'm okay. But it's that the process of putting it back or forward. Cause like sometimes you'll sit up and you'll hit it and it'll go forward and it'll just go like ding. Like I don't think so. I mean, they design it so that, you know, you still have the room.
I was gonna say, like, to me, like anytime I've done it, it feels like you go from sitting just like perfectly straight to like a half an inch back. So like to me it doesn't feel like anything. So I've never like thought of it. I won't be offended if the person in front of me does it, but then I feel like it does sort of create a domino effect. Where like if they take a little bit of my space, then I want to take a little bit of your space. You know what I mean? But like I don't know. It's never bothered me. I've never thought that was like uncouth. But I do think twice now. I guess like I at least look behind me, and if it looks like somebody's already like struggling to fit in the space, then I won't. Or like if they have like a glass menagerie on their tabletop, then I won't.
Like me. I have all my drinks.
Which, speaking of using your tray table, something else I never thought about was, is it rude to take hot food from the airport and eat it on the plane?
I've done it. I think that you have to take into account of the smell of what you're eating.
Yeah, I can be a bit nose blind, honestly. And some of my favorite things are like garlic, onions.
So true.
Like,
and I've done it before because, like, okay, there's like a Potbelly's in every airport, right? And those are big.
Potbelly's is like a sandwich place.
Yeah, and those are like big, juicy, smelly sandwiches, and they're huge. So you always have half left over. And my husband like brought half of it on, and I was like, he opened it up, and I was like, honey, don't do that. No. Yeah. And he did it. Like, it's fine. And you know, it smelled good, so it's whatever. But it's like, you've had, like, I don't want somebody like eating fish next to me or something. And I like fish. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, I've never done it just because I usually like gorge myself at the airport because I get there like a day in advance and I just have to like camp out. So like I'm full. Like I'm fine for my flight.
Snacks. For sure, from home.
Before you were a mom, did you still carry snacks?
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. My kid doesn't have teeth, so like, yeah, I eat. Yeah. I have snacks. I have to have Gardettos on the plane.
What's that?
It's like Chex Mix, but better.
Oh,
they're okay. Like Chex Mix, but better, way better. Yeah, Gardettos. I can't fly without Gardettos.
I am a combos person. Anytime I'm traveling, it's like my road trip snack. It's my airport snack. It's just, and I also do this thing where if I know like I'm going to be broke and traveling, I'll have like jerky or something on me that will actually like sustain if it has to. Yeah. And lollipops.
Okay.
And then there's one more sort of hot debated thing that I feel comes up, and that is the armrest. Who owns what armrest when you're flying?
So stressful. So, like, obviously the aisle, they get theirs, and then the window doesn't have one, but I don't know. I have no idea.
See, I'm a firm believer that if you are in the middle, you do get both armrests. So, like, if you're
like, you deserve it.
Yeah, like those are your. Well, where are you supposed to go? Where are they supposed to go?
True.
Like they
but don't cross it.
Well, yeah, don't do this.
Don't
like
cross
if you're watching on YouTube, like I'm pretending the ends of these chairs are my armrests, and you have those armrests. Yeah. The second you cross the armrest and you're doing the like elbow thing where you're doing like the chicken dance over the side of the armrest, that is that no, now you're encroaching. And I've flown in the middle so many times, and no matter what, I'm sitting like as small as I can make myself. I'm like folding myself like a little closed book. My knees are closed, my arms are as in as possible, and everybody else I think is like they're like liquid. They then, if you're not using this space, I'm gonna use this space. And then I'm like, well, I should have just been rude. Like, this is awful.
Well, there's also the TV controls are on the armrest, and they're on
not on the planes I'm flying, people. Well. The last time I saw a TV, I didn't even know they did that anymore. I didn't know they had TVs on planes anymore.
So I was on an old United to Florida and a new United plane home from Florida, and on the older one, the TV controls are on the left armrest. Yeah. So like my right armrest is the person next to me's TV. Oh, so like I can't put my hand over that. You know what I mean? To be like, excuse me, let me change my channel. But the new United, the whole TV was touchscreen, and I was floored by it. Your Bluetooth headphones connect to it. Floored.
How does that?
No idea.
If you know how that Bluetooth works, let me know, because I'm
Unbelievable.
genuinely curious why I wouldn't connect to everyone around me.
You have
Like,
to choose.
how do you know?
You have to like choose your thing on the
Amazing.
screen. Yeah, it was. I've never seen it before.
I do feel like flying in general has lost so much of like the luxury that it used to feel. Like I wasn't alive back then,
right?
But when you'll see like vintage planes where it's just like vintage cars, even like they were living rooms, they were like dining sets, and like, and that would be really cool. But now I guess if you want that sort of experience, you're just paying like
so
buco bucks for that, right?
So much money.
Yeah.
I wanted to. I've never flown first class, and I would love to do like one of those little bedroom pods.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I want to fly first class, even in just the sense that like somebody brings me champagne.
Oh,
well, like a pod would be great, you know, but I just want like that feeling.
I just want you to bring me alcohol.
Yeah, like a little more room. Like it would just be cool to do once, but I've never been able to justify that.
No,
like you like
especially for like 2 hours. If I'm gonna fly like 10 hours, maybe.
Yes, I do feel like it'd have to be at least a 6-hour flight for it to be worth it.
Absolutely.
And for something special. You know what I mean? I'm not just or I'm rich now.
Yeah,
and that's just how I travel.
Yeah, well, we can dream, can't we?
Yeah. So in general, I think we have the same sort of idea about how to carry yourself on the plane. Number one rule, I'm gonna say number one, actually be nice to the flight attendants.
Yes.
Because like that is just like what we should do. Always be kind, clean up after yourself, don't fight with them, do what you're told. Number two, keep your socks and your shoes on. Just do that.
Take your shoes off.
Just do that.
Just don't.
Generally be respectful of other people's space. And then I guess when the plane lands, how do you feel about clapping?
Don't clap.
Don't clap.
Don't clap unless you are under, let's say 5. We said 10. Let's say 5. If
I'm gonna give them all the way up to 10.
Yay! No, I'll say 5. I'll say 5 because like I have a 9-year-old nephew, and I think it'd be weird if he clapped. I don't know. No, don't clap.
I've owned up to this before. I'm gonna own up it to again. I have been a clapper, especially growing up. Yeah. Like, you know, you're just like, I don't know, everybody else is doing it, I'll do it too.
Something
yay!
Like terrifying happens on the plane, and everyone is just like thankful to be alive when you land or something. Yeah. Then you can clap.
I also feel there are certain destinations, like when I flew into Vegas, people are clapping, they're whooping, not because like
they're ready to party.
Exactly, because the party immediately started. So I guess in that, you know, feel the vibe, and honestly, do whatever you want to do. I'm not gonna like sit there seething that you clapped, whatever. I might be like, oh, that's a little silly, but like of all the things you could do to upset me, for me, that's fine. Sure, whatever. And especially that's the end. We're leaving now, so it's all good.
Yeah.
So now we want to know, what are the things that you think are unacceptable to do on an airplane? So let us know in the comments or anywhere on social media using #TravelStoriesUnpacked. And if you are one of these people that has had like something truly insane happen to you, I really want to know, because when we were talking, I was like, I've really like never had that bad of an experience flying. Like, you know, there are little things that I just like get under my skin or whatever, but never where I'm like, oh my gosh, this was horrible, you know? So like, I've been pretty lucky, but I know that's not always the case.
No.
Yeah. No. So I want to hear it. I want to hear all about it. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for coming back on and unpacking airplanes. You know, maybe we'll get you on for something that isn't aviation related.
Isn't airplane related?
Yeah.
Boats. Oh gosh, boats.
Boats.
Yeah.
Boats. Do you want to hear about boats? Let us know. And don't forget to keep coming back on Fridays. We're going to keep unpacking all things travel and sharing all of our wild opinions about it. And as always, this podcast is brought to you by KHM Travel Group, which is a leading host agency for independent travel agents. And you can learn all about it at khmtravel.com.